Okay, so we have our basic track and we're going to add our third element, which will be a little short percussive sequenced sound. And although the track's pretty full already, I just want to add this as it's a common element. Sometimes instead of the stab, you will get these kind of dark techno tracks with just this kind of sequence, and it's a really nice effect to not have the sequence loop around in like a 4/4 like the other sounds. We'll choose something different, like a 3 beats against 4, that kind of thing. So I'll explain what I mean as I go along. First of all, I would usually use my modular for this. The modular sequences are really perfect for this, but there's a equally good substitute that you can use in software. It's called numerology, and the way you set it up in Ableton's a little bit tricky, but let me show you. Create a MIDI track, and you need the VST version of numerology. It won't work for the audio units version doing it this way because of various routings, and you just pull in your numerology VST as normal. It's going to be a mono note sequence that we want, so we drag in our mono note here. That might not make a lot of sense to you for now, but don't worry about that. What we need to do now is set up our synth, and again I'm going to go back to having our complete control instrument rack. Gives me access to all of Nave Instruments complete. Sorry, that should go on the user section. So presets, instruments, and then instrument rack. And there we go. There's my complete control instrument setup. And I can then have access to the whole library. Once again, the instrument I'm going to choose, I think Razor is a perfect kind of instrument for this kind of sound. I guess we want like a lead synth kind of sound here. Might take me a bit of time to find something, but what we need to do first of all is just choose something. I'll choose cutter here, so we can get this numerology sequence going. And what we need to do is remember what key we had our stab and drone in, which was, if I remember rightly, we were in B flat or A sharp minor. So that's all sorted out, and that will restrict the notes generated to those. And here you'll see a generate. What we've got here is various directions we can go forwards, backwards, and all that, but just forget that for now. What we're interested in is to generate automatically just a kind of acid-like sequence. You've got various presets for the types of sequence you want to create, but it's just by random creates a good starting point that you can then edit later. So just click now and it does something random. I don't really want to change the velocities for now. That's for different accents and stuff, so I just normalize those so they're all the same. Here is your gate length. So obviously these fully open ties at the top, which will not re-trigger the notes. So we'll see how this sounds. And what I'm going to do, as I said, we're going to, instead of just a regular bar in 16ths, I'm going to get this sequence to loop. Some people loop it 12. I'm going to go down to 6. So we'll see, once we set this up, how this sounds. And the final thing we need to do is make sure that the Razor instrument here is receiving the MIDI output of numerology. So from MIDI, you choose numerology down here, and then you have to choose it again. So it's just a little bit of work you have to do to set this up, but this should be absolutely fine now. There we go. What I'm going to do is, apart from lower the entire level of the track, it's getting pretty loud here. It's in too high a register, so you see the octaves here. I'm going to get that down to just 2 octave span, you'll hear the difference. And let's try some different sounds. That's not a bad sound actually. It's a little bit trancey, ravey maybe. I think I can work with this sound actually. Okay, let's whack the volume back up. Yeah, that's quite nice. It just needs a change to the sound really. So let's expand this. What I like about this sound is it's not getting in the way of what we've already got in the mix. It's also got some variation when you sweep the high pass cutoff here, which is quite nice. And it's got this strange kind of subliminal weight to it in the bass when you start easing off on the high pass filter, which is quite nice. So I'm happy with that as it is. And if you wanted to change this, you can see the gate length here. So that's 0. Or you could bring in this note. I prefer it to have like a pause there. That's pretty cool, let's go with that. And then what we can do once we've finished with numerology, we can just record the MIDI into this slot here. And you'll see there the MIDI notes that numerology has generated. We can get rid of that. It's got kind of odd feel to it because, as you can see, the notes, this one is cut off. It's got like a kind of shortened length compared to the notes here, but that sounds pretty interesting actually. I quite like that. Okay, so I think we have our basic track, and the next stage would be to arrange this.
If you like this course, why not head over to sonicacademy.com, where we have hundreds of complete track builds in every genre imaginable, including all the project files and samples. You'll also find tutorials on plugins and synths, mixing and mastering, over 250 tech tips, artist interviews, along with our award-winning plugins, samples and preset packs.